2. The Master Teaches. Young age is the budding period of the flower of life. It needs protection so that the diverse opinions of others do not create confusion in the mind. A tender mind can be bent easily. Loving guidance and right communication is important. Parents who pay proper attention to their children can help them to pass through the adolescent period. This is the period of shaping the habits of the mind. Learning to give. Nearly all children are quite selfish by nature. They do not want to give anything to others. I was trained to reverse this tendency. In the mountains, I used to take only one meal a day. I would have one chapati, some vegetables, and a glass of milk. One day, when it was almost 1 o'clock, I washed my hands, sat down, and the food was given to me. I said grace and was about to start eating, when my master came in and said, "Wait!" I asked, "What's the matter?" He answered, "An old Swami has come. He's hungry and you must give him your food." "No," I argued. "I'm not going to, even if he's a Swami. I'm also hungry, and I won't get any more food until tomorrow." He said, "You won't die. Give it to him. But don't give it just because I'm ordering you. Give it as an offering of love." I said, "I'm hungry. How can I feel love towards someone who is eating my food?" When he could not convince me to offer my food to the Swami, he finally said, "I order you to offer your food." The Swami came in. He was an old man with a white beard. With only a blanket, a walking stick, and wooden sandals, he traveled all alone in the mountains. My master said to him, "I'm so glad that you have come. Will you bless this child for me?" But I said, "I don't need your blessing. I need food. I'm hungry." My master said, "If you lose control in this weak moment, you will lose the battle of life. Please offer your food to the Swami. First give him water, and then wash his feet." I did as I was told, but I did not like it, nor did I understand the meaning of it. I helped him wash his feet, and then I asked him to sit down, and I gave him my food. Later I found out that he had not had any food for 4 days. He took my food and said, "God bless you. You will never feel hunger unless food comes before you. This is my blessing to you." His voice still echoes in my ears. From that very day I have been free from the urge which had so often led me to childish cravings. There is a narrow barrier between selfishness and selflessness, love and hatred. After crossing it, one enjoys doing things for others without seeking anything in return. This is the highest of all joys, and an essential step in the path of enlightenment. A selfish man can never imagine this state of realization, for he remains within the limited boundaries built by his ego. A selfless man trains his ego and uses it for higher purposes. Selflessness is one common characteristic that we find among all great men and women of the world. Nothing could be achieved without selfless service. All the rituals and knowledge of the scriptures are in vain if actions are performed without selflessness. How a master tests his students. Teachers often test their students. I was asked to meditate punctually at a certain time. One day during this time, my master came and stood before me while I was sitting with my eyes closed. I was not very successfully meditating, or I would not have been conscious that he was there. He said, "Get up." I did not respond. Then he asked me, "Do you hear me and know that I am here?" I said, "Yes." He asked, "Are you meditating?" I said, "No." "Then why did you not get up?" he asked. I was only pretending to meditate actually, and I had been fully conscious of his presence. The teacher often does such things to test our attitudes, our honesty, and our discipline. He will tell you one secret and then whisper another to another student, saying to both, "Do not tell this to anyone." Then rather than keep the secrets, you exchange them with one another. In this way he finds out that you are not prepared to keep greater secret. He says, "I told you not to tell. Why did you?" Teachers also impose more severe tests. Sometimes they will say, "Stand here," and they will not come back for 3 days. It may be cold and raining, but only after days do they come back and get you. They have many such tests. A person's strength needs to be tested often so that he learns to be self-reliant. Teachers, by testing their students, teach self-discipline and promote self-reliance. In order to gauge a student's progress, testing is important. Testing also helps students to evaluate their own progress and to uncover errors of which they may not have been consciously aware. An all-night journey through the forest. On the way to Nepal from Tanakpur, we stayed in a forest. My master said, "Let us eat something." It was 2 o'clock in the morning. He said, "Go to the shop in Tanakpur. It is 12 miles away along the forest path." There was another Swami with us. He also had a disciple. He asked my master, "Why are you sending him at night? I would not send my boy who is with me." My master said, "Be quiet. You are making him a sissy and not a Swami. I am training this boy. He must go." Then he said to me, "Come here, son. Hold this lantern. It has enough oil. Keep matches in your pocket. Have a staff in your hand. Wear your shoes. Go to the food grain shop and get enough groceries for 3 or 4 days." I said okay and left. Many times during the long night, tigers and snakes crossed the path in front of me. The grass on both sides, elephant grass, was very tall, much higher than I. I heard many noises in the grass, but I couldn't know their cause. With my small lantern, I walked 12 miles to the shop and then came back with the supplies at 7 in the morning. My master asked, "How are you?" and I began to tell him all that happened on the way. Finally he said, "That's enough. Let us prepare the food." Fearlessness is also an essential prerequisite for attaining enlightenment. Great are those who are always fearless. To be completely free from all fears is one step on the path of enlightenment. Crossing a flooded river. Students are many, disciples are few. Many students came to my master and requested, Please accept me as your disciple." They all showed their faithfulness by serving him, by chanting, by learning, and by practicing disciplines. He did not respond. One day he called everyone to him. There were 20 students. He said, "Let's go." Everyone followed him to the bank of the Tungbhadra River in South India. It was in full flood, very wide and dangerous. He said, "He who can cross this river is my disciple." One student said, "Sir, you know I can do it, but I have to go back to finish my work." Another student said, "Sir, I don't know how to swim." I didn't say anything. As soon as he said it, I jumped. He sat down quietly as I crossed the river. It was very wide. There were many crocodiles, and huge logs were rolling with the currents of water, but I was not concerned. My mind was one-pointed on completing the challenge I was given. I loved to be challenged, and I always accepted a challenge joyfully. It was a source of inspiration for me to examine my own strength. Whenever I was tired, I would float, and in this way I succeeded in crossing the river. My master said to the other students, "He didn't say that he was my disciple, but he jumped." I was close enough to him to know his power. I thought, "He wants his disciples to cross the river. Here I am. I can do it. It's nothing, because he is here. Why can't I do it?" So firm were my faith and determination. Faith and determination, these two are the essential rungs on the ladder of enlightenment. Without them, the word enlightenment can be written and spoken, but never realized. Without faith, we can attain some degree of intellectual knowledge, but only with faith can we see into the most subtle chambers of our being. Determination is the power that sees us through all frustrations and obstacles. It helps in building willpower, which is the very basis of success within and without. It is said in the scriptures that with the help of Sankalpa Shakti, that's the power of determination, nothing is impossible. Behind all the great works done by the great leaders of the world stands this Shakti. With this power behind him, such a leader says, "I will do it. I have to do it. I have the means to do it." When this power of determination is not interrupted, one inevitably attains the desired goal. My offering to my master. What did I offer to my master? I will tell you. When I received my second step of initiation at the age of 15, I had nothing with me. I thought, all these rich people come with baskets of fruit, flowers, and money to offer to their teachers, but I have nothing to give. I asked my master, "Sir, what is the best thing for me to offer?" He said to me, "Bring me a bundle of dry sticks." I thought, surely if someone brings such sticks to his teacher will kick him. But I did as he instructed. I brought him a bundle of dry sticks, and he said, "Offer it to me with all your heart, mind, and soul." I looked at him and thought, he is so wise and educated. What has happened to him today? He said, "This is the greatest gift that you can ever give me. People want to give me gold, silver, land, a house. These valuables mean nothing to me. My master explained that when you offer a bundle of dry sticks to a guru, he understands that you are prepared to tread the path of enlightenment. It means, please relieve me from my past and burn all my negative thinking in the fire of knowledge. He said, I will burn these dry sticks so that your past karmas do not affect your future. Now I am giving you a new life. Do not live in the past. Live here and now and start treading the path of light. Most people brood for the past and do not know how to live here and now. That is the cause of their suffering. Loneliness. I am never lonely. A lonely person is one who is not aware of the complete fullness within. When you become dependent on something outside, without having awareness of the reality within you, then you will indeed be lonely. The whole search for enlightenment is to seek within, to become aware that you are complete in yourself. You are perfect. You don't need any externals. No matter what happens in any situation, you need never be lonely. One day when I was 16 years old, I was standing outside our cave in the Himalayas and saw several people approaching. When they came closer, I recognized them to be a ruling prince of India, with his secretary and guards. He came up to me and arrogantly said, Brahmachari, meaning young Swami, I have come to see your master. In the very same tone I said, You cannot see him. His secretary asked, Don't you know who he is? I replied, I don't care. I am the protector of this cave. Go away. So they departed. They returned several times, but to no avail, because I seldom allowed anyone to see my master. I wanted to shield him from disturbance, and we had no inclination to see arrogant people. Sometimes I would say to my master, These rich people come from far and wide, and you say you don't want to see them. Is this good? He would smile and answer, I am happy with my friend within me. Why do I need to see these people? They are not genuine seekers. They want something worldly. One wants to have a child, another to have a high position. They don't want any spiritual food. Why do you ask me to see them? Finally, the ruler prince recognized that I didn't care about his status, so he changed his attitude. When he came again, he politely asked, Sir, may I please see your master? I took him inside the cave where my master was sitting quietly. The prince wanted to be polite and show his manners and Western breeding. He said, Sir, you seem to be lonesome. My master said, Yes, because you have come. Before you came, I was enjoying the company of my friend within. Now that you have come, I am lonesome. It is true that the highest of all companionship is the company of the real self. Those who learn to enjoy the real self within are never lonely. Who makes us lonely? Those who claim to know and love us, or those whom we love, create loneliness and make us dependent. We forget the eternal friend within. When we learn to know our real self, we do not depend on externals. Dependence on external relationships is ignorance that needs to be dispelled. Relationships and life are synonymous and inseparable. Those who know the friend within love all, and are not dependent. They are never lonely. Loneliness is a disease. Being alone happily means enjoying the constant company, the constant awareness of the reality. After learning this lesson, the ruler returned to his palace and pondered over the teachings. He then started practicing meditation. He soon realized that it is possible for everyone to be free from the self-created misery of loneliness and to enjoy life. Maya, the cosmic veil. One day I said to my master, "Sir, I have been taught that avidya, meaning ignorance, and maya, meaning illusion, are one and the same, but I do not really understand what maya is." He often taught by demonstration, so he said, "Tomorrow morning I will show you what maya is." I could not sleep that night. I thought, tomorrow morning I am going to meet Maya. The next day we went for our morning ablutions as usual. Then we met again afterwards. We bathed in the Ganges. Afterwards I did not feel like I could sit for meditation, because I was so excited by the prospect of the mystery of Maya being unveiled. On our way back to the cave, we came upon a big, dry trunk of a tree. My master rushed up to the tree and wrapped himself around it. I had never seen him run so fast before. He called out, "Are you my disciple? Then help me." I said, "Huh? You have helped so many people, and today you need my help? What has happened to you?" I was afraid of that tree. I wouldn't go near it because I feared it would also entrap me. I thought, if that tree also entraps me, then who will help us both? He cried, "Help me! Take hold of my foot and try your best to pull me away." I tried with all my might, but I could not separate him from the tree. Then he said, "My body has been caught by this tree trunk." I exhausted myself trying to pull him from the tree. Finally I stopped to think, and I said to him, "How is this possible? The tree trunk has no powers to hold you. What are you doing?" He laughed and said, "This is Maya." My master explained Anadi Vidya, meaning cosmic illusion, to me, just as Shankara had described it. He said that avidya means individual ignorance, while Maya is both individual and cosmic illusion. Ma means no, and Ya means that. That which is not self-existent, yet it appears to exist, like a mirage, is called Maya. Then he explained another school of philosophy, which maintains that Maya is universal illusion, and also the mother of the universe. He told me that in Tantra philosophy, Maya is considered to be both cosmic Shakti and the primal force, or Kundalini, the latent force in all human beings. By focusing one's awareness on the Absolute, this sleeping force is awakened within and directed toward the center of consciousness. When one comes in touch with this power, he can easily attain the highest level of consciousness. Those who do not awaken this force of Shakti remain forever brute and ignorant. After describing the philosophies of Maya, he said, "When we devote our mind, energy, and resources to believing in that which is non-existent, then it appears to exist. That is Maya. Don't contemplate on evil, devils, sin, avidya or maya, and thereby put yourself in a state of stress and worry. Even spiritual people become preoccupied with blaming the world for their lack of progress. This weakness is significant in creating obstacles. For lack of sincerity, honesty, faithfulness, and truthfulness, we do not realize that which we are. We project our weaknesses and think that the objects of the world are the source of our obstacles. He told me to practice non-attachment and constant awareness. He said, "The strongest of bondages is created by attachment, which makes one weak, ignorant, and unaware of the absolute reality. Maya, or illusion, is deeply rooted in attachment. When we are attached to or have a desire for something, it becomes a source of illusion for us. Those who are free from attachments and have directed their desires towards spiritual growth are free from the bondage of Maya, illusion. The less attachment, the more inner strength. The more inner strength, the nearer the goal." Vairagya or abhyasa, non-attachment and constant awareness of absolute reality, are like two wings of a bird which can fly from the plane of mortality to the height of immortality. Those who do not allow their wings to be clipped by the illusion of Maya can attain perfection. Many people confuse attachment with love. But in attachment you become selfish, interested in your own pleasure, and you misuse love. You become possessive and try to gain the objects of your desires. Attachment creates bondage, while love bestows freedom. When yogis speak of non-attachment, they are not teaching indifference, but they are teaching how to genuinely and selflessly love others. Non-attachment, properly understood, means love. Non-attachment as well as love can be practiced by those who live in the world, as well as those who are renunciates. The message which I received on the sands of the Ganges in the Himalayas helped me to understand that illusion is self-induced. By imparting this knowledge, my beloved Master made me aware of the nature of cosmic illusion and the individual barriers we create. Bitter truth with blessed effects. I remember an occasion when I was traveling with my master. The station master in a town we were passing through came to me and said, "Sir, give me something to practice, and I promise I will follow it faithfully." My master said to me, "Give him something definite to practice." I said, "Why should one fool misguide another? It will be better if you instruct him." So my master said, "From this day on, don't lie. Practice this rule faithfully for the next 3 months." Most of the employees of the railroad in that area were dishonest and took bribes. But this man decided he would not take bribes or lie any more. That very same week, a supervisor from the head office came to investigate him and his assistants. The station master answered the probing questions of the supervisor honestly. The inquiry brought serious trouble to his staff. All the employees who had been taking bribes, including the station master himself, were prosecuted. He thought, "It has only been 13 days, and look at the difficulty I'm in. What is going to happen to me in 3 months' time?" Soon his wife and children left him. Within a month his life had crumbled like a house of cards from a single touch. That day the station master was in great agony. and we were some 300 miles away on the bank of the Narmada River. My master was lying under a tree when he suddenly began laughing. He said, "Do you know what is happening? The man who I instructed not to lie is in jail today." I asked, "Then why are you laughing?" He answered, "I am not laughing at him. I am laughing at the foolish world." 12 people in that man's office had gotten together and said he was a liar, although he had been speaking the truth. They accused him of being the one guilty of taking bribes. He was put in jail and all the others were released. When the station master went to court, the judge looked down at him from the bench and said, "Where is your attorney?" "I don't need one." The judge said, "But I want someone to help you." "No," said the station master, "I don't need an attorney. I want to speak the truth. No matter how many years you put me behind bars, I won't lie. I used to share in bribes. Then I met a sage who told me never to lie, no matter what. My wife and children have left me. I have lost my job. I have no money or friends, and I am in jail. All these things happened in 1 month. I have to examine truth for 2 more months, no matter what happens. Sir, put me behind bars. I don't care." The judge called a recess and quietly called the man to his chamber. He asked, "Who is the sage who told you this?" The man described him. Fortunately, the judge was a disciple of my master. He acquitted the station master and said, "You are on the right path. Stick to it. I wish I could do the same." After 3 months, that man did not have anything. On the exact day when the 3 months were up, he was sitting quietly under a tree when he received a telegram saying, "Your father had a huge plot of land that was taken long ago by the government. The government now wants to give you compensation." They gave him 1,000,000 rupees. He had not known about the land, which was in a different province. He thought, "Today I have completed 3 months of not lying, and I have been rewarded so much." He gave the compensation to his wife and children, and they happily said, "We want to come back to you." "No," he said, "until now I have only seen what happens by not lying for 3 months. Now I want to find out what will happen if I do not lie for the rest of my life." Truth is the ultimate goal of human life, and if it is practiced with mind, speech, and action, the goal can be reached. Truth can be attained by practicing non-lying, and by not doing those actions which are against one's own conscience. Conscience is the best of guides. You teach others, but deprive me. One day I told my master, "You have been cheating me." When we are inadequate ourselves, but our ego is strong, we tend to blame others. He asked, "What's the matter?" I said, "You think I'm still a child, and you are withholding things from me." "Tell me what I am withholding." "You are not showing me God. Perhaps you cannot, but can only teach me about God. If that is the limit of your powers, then you should be honest." He answered, "I will show you God tomorrow morning." I asked, "Really?" He replied, "Most certainly. Are you prepared?" I used to meditate regularly before going to bed, but that night I could not. I was sure that in the morning I would get to see God. So what was the point of meditating? I was so restless and excited, I did not sleep the whole night. Early in the morning I went to my master. I did not even bathe. I thought, when my master is going to show me God, why take time for a bath? I just slapped my face, patted down my hair, and presented myself to him. He said, "Take a seat." I thought, now he is going to show me God. I was seldom humble, but I became extraordinarily humble that morning. I bowed before him many times. He looked at me and said, "What has happened to you? What is this funny business? Why are you abnormally emotional?" I said, "Did you forget? You promised that you would show me God." He said, "Okay, let me know what type of God you are prepared to see." I said, "Sir, are there many types?" He asked, "What is your concept and definition of God? I'll show you God exactly according to your conviction and definition." Everyone wants to see God without having any firm conviction of God in their minds and hearts. If you are searching and are not firm and sure regarding the object of your search, what will you find? If I tell you that whatsoever you see is God, you are not going to be satisfied. If I say God is within you, still you won't be satisfied. Suppose I show you God, and you say, "No, that's not God." What am I going to do then? So you tell me the way you think about God, and I will produce that God for you. I told him, "Wait a moment, let me think." He said, "God is not within the range of your thinking. Go back to your meditation seat, and when you are ready, let me know. Come and see me any time you want after you've decided what type of God you want to see. I don't lie. I'll show you God. That is my duty, to show you God." I tried my best to imagine what God would be like, but my imagination could not go beyond the human form. My mind ranged over the kingdom of plants, then the kingdom of animals, then human beings. So I imagined a wise and handsome man who was very strong and powerful, and I thought, God must look like this. Then I realized that I was making a foolish demand. What could I experience when I didn't have clarity of mind? Finally I went to my master and said, "Sir, show me that God who can free us of miseries, and who can give us happiness." He said, "That is a state of equilibrium and tranquility, which you must cultivate for yourself." Without having clarity of mind, a mere desire to see God is like groping in the dark. I found out that the human mind has its boundaries, and can visualize only according to its limited resources. No human being can possibly explain what God is, or conceive of God mentally. One can say, "God is truth, a fountain of love, absolute reality, or the one who manifested this universe." But these are all abstract ideas which do not satisfy the desire to see God. Then what is there to be seen? Those who believe God is a being can imagine and see a vision, but in reality God cannot be seen through human eyes. God can only be realized by realizing the real self, and then the self of all. So when a student has the attitude of I want to see God. My teacher is not showing me God. My teacher is not giving me what I want. He must finally realize that it is not a matter of the teacher's duty. Find out if you are making inappropriate demands, and instead of demanding from the teacher, transform yourself within. God is within you, and that which is within you is subject to self-realization. No one can show God to anyone else. One has to independently realize his real self. Thereby he realizes the self of all, which is called God. In the state of ignorance, the student thinks that God is a particular being, and he wants to see that being exactly as he sees something in the external world. It never happens. But when he realizes that God is truth, and practices truth in action and speech, then his ignorance about the nature of God disappears, and self-realization dawns. Discipline is a must. I would often go to the Ramgara forest where my friend Nantin Baba lived. Nantin means child. He had been practicing austerities and spiritual disciplines from the age of 6. We both were very mischievous. We would often sneak into a village and go into someone's kitchen, eat whatever we found, and then return to the forest. That created a mystery among the villagers. Some thought that we were divine incarnations, while others thought that we were devils. There were many apple orchards in the area, owned by rich people of Nainital. One day we left our place to live near a small creek which flowed through an orchard. In the evening we collected wood for a fire. The forest preserve officers were concerned about fires, so we made our fire in the orchard. The owner saw us and thought we were stealing the golden apples and other rare varieties. He was very stingy and miserly, and never allowed anyone to pick up apples off the ground like the other orchard owners did. He ordered his watchmen to come with bamboo sticks. 5 men ran toward us to beat us up. When they came closer, they saw we were not thieves, but those 2 young yogis who lived in the forest. When I returned to my master after 3 months, he said, "You create problems for me by doing silly things." I replied, "I haven't done anything." But he continued, "I have to protect you as an infant is protected by its mother. When will you grow up? Why did you trespass on someone's property?" I answered, "All things belong to God. They can be used by those who are in the service of God." To this my master replied, "This type of thinking is a misuse of the scriptural sayings for your own convenience. Your thinking should be corrected." Then he gave me these instructions. The first: see the ultimate reality as all-pervasive throughout the universe. The second: do not be attached to all the pleasures received from the objects of the world. Treat them as a means for spiritual progress. The third: do not covet anyone's property, woman, or wealth. He said, "Don't you remember these sayings of the Upanishads? In the future, if you commit any social crime and disturb the householders, I will not talk to you any more." At times he would punish me by refusing to speak to me. The difference between his rebuking silence and the positive silence which was filled with love and understanding was very apparent to me. I was 16 years of age then, and had tremendous energy. I was very active and would constantly annoy him. But he often said, "This is my karma, and not your fault, my boy. I am reaping the fruits of my own deeds." I would feel sad and promise not to repeat that which was against his instructions, but soon I would misbehave again. Sometimes I was consciously irresponsible, and at other times I acted wrongly unconsciously through inattentiveness. But this great man always loved me under all circumstances, in spite of my misbehavior. When one becomes mature, he starts knowing the real philosophy of life. Then he starts becoming aware of his thoughts, speech, and actions. Spiritual practice needs constant vigilance. Discipline should not be rigidly imposed, but students should learn to commit themselves and accept the discipline as essential for self-growth. Imposing rigidity and following it doesn't seem to be helpful. Through this approach, one might know what to do and what not to do, but can never know how to be. Blessings in a curse. Whenever I became egotistical, I fell down. This is my experience. My master said, try your best, but whenever you feed your ego, whenever you try to do anything selfish, you will not succeed. This is my curse on you. I looked at him in surprise. What was he saying? Then he continued, this is my blessing to you, that whenever you want to become selfless, loving, and without ego, you will find a great force behind you, and you will never fail to achieve some good. A selfish man always thinks and talks about himself. His selfishness makes him self-centered and miserable. The shortest cut to self-enlightenment is to cut through the ego, surrender before the highest one. Satsanga, meaning company of the sages, and constant awareness of the center within, help one in going beyond the mire of delusion. The ego is also purified by cultivating selflessness. Unpurified ego is an evil which obstructs one's own progress. But the purified ego is a means in discriminating real self from not self, real self from mere self. No one can expand his consciousness if he remains egotistical. Those who build boundaries around themselves because of their ego problems invariably create suffering for themselves. But those who try to be constantly aware of their unity with others can remain happy and fearless, enjoying every moment of life. Those who are selfless, humble, and loving are the true benefactors of humanity.